Hey everybody, Weston here with the Hidden Gibbon, back with another deck tech video, and today we are keeping the requests going. I have gotten a whole bunch all at once, so I'm going to try to get through as many of them as we can. Just a quick note, if you put one in around Christmas, I will be out of town at my in-laws, so it'll take a little bit longer to get those ones processed, but without further ado, let's get straight into Delney here. So the request was for Delney, Streetwise Lookout. And Delney is a 2/2 for 2 generic and 1 white, with creatures you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. And then if an ability of a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers, it triggers an additional time. It's a pretty simple commander, and honestly, I thought about memeing and going with Heir Apparent, but I didn't want to go that route. I would say this is mid-tier budget, because I consider low tier to be 300 or less, mid-tier to be 3 to, like 7, and then high to be above 7. So let's get into it, shall we? So obviously what we're going to try to do is get a whole bunch of our triggers going. And how are we going to do this? Well, I'm going to run a couple different cards. And I know that Appa here, being the first one you're seeing, doesn't trigger off of Delney. However, he will be able to airbend any number of your permanents that you have, and then you will be able to then trigger those permanents again when you cast them for 2. And whenever you cast a spell from exile, create a 1/1 white ally creature token. He has flying and flash. This is also a great way to protect your own stuff if somebody tries to wrath your board. We have Archivist of Akma, flash, and whenever an opponent searches their library, which is all the time in Commander, you gain 1 life and draw a card. We have Charming Prince, so when he enters, you can choose 1. It'll double trigger with Delney, of course, so scry 2, gain 3 life, or exile another target creature you own. Return it to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. Elish Norn, Mother of Machines. Now, she won't trigger, again, because she's 4 or higher, but she will help you trigger your stuff even more. It also has the added benefit of shutting off your opponent's triggers. We have Esper Sentinel, which is whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power. Now, remember, this will trigger twice, so that's pretty neat. Guide of Souls is a Soul Sister. We have Hinterland Sanctifier, which is also a Soul Sister. Inspiring Overseer is a flyer that gets you a life and draws you a card times 2. We have Kindly Customer, which is whenever this creature enters, draw a card. So pretty much the same thing here. We have Knight of the White Orchid, first strike, and when Knight of the White Orchid enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more lands than you, which is likely considering we're mono white, you may search your library for a plains card and put it into the battlefield, then shuffle. And again, notice it is a 2/2, so you will get to activate it more than once. We have Core Cartographer, which is when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a plains card, put it on the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library, and again, trigger twice. Mangara the Diplomat, lifelink, and whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and or planeswalkers you control, draw a card, and whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. Mental Meek, so whenever another creature you control power 2 or less enters, you can pay 1. If you do, draw a card. We have Michiko Konda, Truth Seeker. I actually used to have her as a commander back in the day. I actually really like her. It's whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you, that player sacrifices a permanent. And then what I would do is I would give her indestructible. You know what? Let me put this down. I'm going to do a Michiko Konda deck. Monk Gyatso. So whenever another creature you control becomes the target of a spell or ability, you may airbend that creature, which is pretty nice. Again, if people try to target your stuff with removal, you can just airbend it unless they want to kill Monk Gyatso first. Ocelot Pride, first strike, lifelink. The bane of many players' existence. Ascend, and at the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, create a 1/1 white cat creature token. Then if you have the City's Blessing, for each token you control that entered the battlefield this turn, create a copy of it. Recruiter of the Guard. When it enters, you may search your library for a creature card with toughness 2 or less, reveal it, put it into your hand. Skrelv, he's just a little Skrelv Mite guy here. Solemn Simulacrum. Soul Warden. Spirited Companion to draw you a card. He's a little... I think that's a Shiba Inu, right? Chat, put in the comments down below what breed of dog that is, but I think it's a Shiba Inu. Wall of Omens, Defender. When this card enters, draw a card. And Welcoming Vampire. Whenever one or more other creatures you control power 2 or less enter, draw a card. Triggers only once each turn. Then we have sorceries. We have Ascend from Avernus, which is return all creature and planeswalker cards with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And then exile Ascend from Avernus. Man, I don't know if it's the screen or what. I don't know why I'm yawning. It's only 11 today. We have Austere Command, Avatar's Wrath, which will let you airbend all other creatures besides one that you choose. Dusk to Dawn, Expel the Interlopers, Martial Coup, and then we have Raise the Past to bring stuff back, like Ascent from Avernus, Retribution of the Meek, which is bury all creatures with power 4 or greater. The sun is just like shooting that dragon in the background. It's interesting. We have Savine's Reclamation. We have Battle of Bywater, which will kill all the big things and make you some foods. And we have White Sun's Twilight to make a whole bunch of mites. For instance, we're running Akroma's Will, Everybody Lives, Flare of Fortitude, I guess in a way, Ghost Way, all for protection. For removal, we've got Path, Swords, Generous Gift, and Stroke of Midnight. And then we also have White Sun Zenith to drop us a bajillion little cats. For our artifacts, we do have Blade of Selves, so that way we can get things that have ETB with Myriad. We have Lightning Greaves, we have Swiftfoot Boots, we have Skull Clamp for our tokens that we generate. We have Meek Stone. Creatures with power 3 or greater don't untap during their controller's untap steps. We have Oketra's Monument. We have Panharmonicon to have our triggers trigger even more. Pearl Medallion. You could probably drop Pearl Medallion. None of the stuff in this deck is overly high costed in white, so, you know. Wind Crystal, since we do have some Soul Sisters in here, getting some generic value. Airbender Ascension, which is a new card, which is when this enchantment enters, airbend up to one target creature, and whenever a creature you control enters, put a quest counter on this enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if this enchantment has 4 more quest counters on it, exile up to one target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield. So it's like Conjurer's Closet. Assemble the players. You may look at the top card of your library. Once each turn, you can cast a spell with power 2 or less from the top of your library. Authority of the Consuls. We have Court of Ardenvale. This would let you return something mana value 3 or less to your hand. If you're the Monarch, you get to return it to the battlefield instead. Crackdown. Non-white creatures with power 3 or greater don't untap during their controller's untap step. We have Dawn of a New Age. We have Ghostly Prison. We have Land Tax. We have Skrelv's Hive, and we have Smile at Death, which is at the beginning of your upkeep. Return 2 target creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put a 1/1 counter on each of those creatures. One card you could add in here is the white enchantment that gives your white creatures Planeswalk. But it seems a little niche for this. We do have Abandoned Air Temple. You can put 1/1 counters on your stuff. Try to not make them overpower 2, otherwise it won't work with Delney. Access Tunnels in here. We have Emeria the Sky Ruin. We have Castle Ardenvale. We have Karoo, Core Haven, Eganjo, Minas Tirith, Rogue's Passage, Secret Tunnel, Myriad, Landscape, Path of Ancestry, War Room, and 23 Planes. Overall, I think this is a pretty decent, straightforward deck. You can get a whole bunch of triggers. One thing I would be mindful of in decks like this is that you be conscientious of the amount of time that you are taking up in the game. If you're doing a whole bunch of blink stuff, it gets really boring really fast. Take that from somebody who has a blink deck. So, here we are at the end of it. I hope you enjoyed the Delney deck. Let me know in the comments down below if this is a deck that you would run, and if you are interested in seeing a commander being built into a deck, if you have a viewer request, drop it in the comments down below. Or something new we could try is if you yourself have a commander deck, drop me the link to your Moxfield and I will feature it on an episode, go through it, kind of see especially if you give me some details of what your goal is and what you're doing, or even if you want some help tuning up your list, we can go through it. I can try doing something like that, kind of like a deck doctor sort of thing. But As always, I'm Weston with the Hidden Gibbon, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.